Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. It is May 3rd, 2017. And ladies and gentlemen, today we are really not here to discuss Planet X news, but what we are here to discuss, as all of you know, that our doctor and professor of physics has been brutally attacked by these, well, let's just call them government trolls, because that is exactly what they are. And they have gone as far as to send emails and harass the doctor while she was employed at the university. Now things are completely upside down in her 17-year career, and there are a lot of legalities that are floating around right now that we really can't discuss and divulge at this time. But I made a video yesterday putting this information out there and calling some of these people out who have destroyed her career and who are now trying to destroy her personally. And not only are they making horrible videos about her, but they are also taking advantage of the situation while they can. And they are putting out all of her personal information that has absolutely no bearing on anything. They do the same thing to me. They do the same thing to many, many others. And this is their way of, well, how should we call it? Their stupid little troll campaigns. And this time around, things are backfiring on these people horribly, because now there will be lawyers involved in multiple states here in the United States. There will be lawyers involved in the country of New Zealand and also over in the UK. If we happen to find out that there is any more information out there that is defaming the doctor and the professor, believe me, you are not untouchable, whether you are in a foreign country or not, because we know that there are lawyers in every single country that are willing to take your paycheck. And what has been done to this lady is absolutely disgusting. And this is pretty much the pattern of the greaseball, lower level government troll / shill. And that is exactly what these people are. And just because she is a woman, they're attacking her even more by calling her Dr. Doom and a bunch of other names that I cannot mention while we are on the air. Now, since I produced my video and put it out there yesterday and today, another one, these people have tried to get YouTube to remove the video, claiming all types of fake and false privacy guideline strikes, which are not going to work, because none of them use their real name. None of them use their real picture. So how can you claim a privacy strike? It's not going to work. So anyways, we have the doctor here with us, and we're going to be going over some of the information and some of the background on what has actually occurred to her and her career. And, you know, this is a very, very sad situation. You're basically looking at a very smart and intelligent woman who has dedicated half of her life to study, learn her knowledge, physics, and teaching. And just because she wanted to investigate something within her field of study outside of the university, not using any of the university's property, computers, telephones, even a freaking pencil, She did everything on her own time. And she was sharing her thoughts and her theories and her observations. And there is no crime in that. But a lot of the statements that have been made by the government shill babies, basically kicking her around because she's a woman. What does she know? They've referred to her as a stupid, bitch. I mean, really? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, some of the same people that are throwing these remarks out, they live in dumpsters. Okay? They have to steal Wi-Fi from Starbucks. And now they're coming out with more videos claiming that this lady is fake. She's not real. She doesn't exist. And the lady who is writing the papers and sharing her observations with us, me and Chris Potter, well, basically now they've gone as far as to say that she has stolen the identity of the professor. What the? This is one of those huge WTF moments. Like, really? She stole her own identity? Man. Where is the government coming up with these low-level slugs? She stole her own identity. Wow. They got to do better than that. But anyways, for the last 6 months, I myself have had, well, how can you say? I'll just put it out there this way. I myself have had my own little double agent that has been involved in the troll group and has been involved in Dazza the cameraman's Facebook page. And they divulge to me everything they see and hear in these groups. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I just have to tell you that these people are some of the most sadistic, asinine individuals that I can't even call them human beings. And they have a leader. They have a handler. They've been caught discussing money and how they're going to get paid, showing satanic symbolisms within these groups. And all of this information has been screen captured. We have a huge file on all of them. And right now, with the help of some other individuals in the UK and in New Zealand and in the United States, we are currently just closing in on these people slowly but surely. And eventually, there are going to be some things that are going to occur that, I really can't get into it, but they're going to start pushing these people into the garbage can where they belong. And a lot of them use fake accounts. And I think that now all of you are starting to fall in line and you are starting to see how these people operate. And they do not want full disclosure out there dealing with Planet X or these brown dwarf stars in our solar system. They do not want the doctor talking about anything NASA related, any of the satellites, any of the imagery that we study and we look at, because she is finding a lot of things within these images coming from the SDO and SETI and the stereo spacecraft. She's finding so many inconsistencies, so many lies, and so many cover-ups that they want to shut her up. And it's not going to happen. Now, she's a very, very nice lady, very, very quiet. She keeps to herself. She does her thing. She teaches. She goes to work. She comes home. She has a family. She's just an ordinary person. She did not want to walk into this and have this big, massive claim to fame. But what she did want to do is she did want to help. And she wanted to lend her knowledge and her expertise and her time into helping me, helping Chris Potter, and trying to help others. And for that, it's almost like, they want to crucify her for doing what she has been trained and educated to do. And we're not going to stand for it. And just because she is a woman doesn't have anything to do with it. There are plenty of women out there in this world that are a hell of a lot smarter than men. That much is a fact. And they are threatened by her intelligence. That much is a fact. They are now even more threatened by the knowledge that she has gained. That much is a fact. And they are even more threatened than all of that because she is conveying and producing the evidence to many other people. And they are afraid of that. And why would they go to the extents that they have gone to ruin this woman's career? She did nothing to any of these people, simply wanting to help. So you help a little old lady across the street, and then you get kicked in the teeth. You try to do the right thing, and you get knocked down. That just seems to be the way that the world has been going for many years now. People that try to do the right thing, they're not recognized for that. They're kicked in the balls, thrown in the gutter, and trampled on. Well, we're not going to stand for that. We're not going to stand for the abuse, and we're not going to stand for the defamation. And now, the whole possibility of where her career is going to go is up in the air. See, because if you're a physicist or a scientist, what are you really going to be doing? You're either going to be working for a major space agency or something of that nature, or you're going to be teaching. You're going to be teaching others. And that's what she chose to do. For the last 17 damn years, she has quietly been doing her job and teaching others. And you never know that, if she was here in the United States teaching at a major university in physics, maybe she would have been teaching one of your sons or your daughters. And now, this good-hearted person, this good-hearted woman, is now being kicked around and abused like a piece of trash by trash themselves. And each and every one of them are nothing but trash. They will always be trash. But they're not going to faze her. She is already standing up on her own 2 feet, ready to fight with 2 fists of fury. Doctor, how are you this morning?
I'm okay. Thank you, Scott. And how are you?
I'm fired up. You know how I get. I'm fired up, and I'm ready to go. I do not like the situation that has occurred, and I know you don't.
No.
Yes, but we will persevere, and I know that you've been through a lot over the course of the last couple of weeks, and we're going to keep pushing along. But we've discussed in the past how you brought yourself into the situation of discovering some anomalies in the sky and in space, and things that you've observed, and how you started your investigations. Did you ever think in a million years, in a million light years, that it would ever come to this point where unknown people to you, people that don't even know you personally, would come with such vicious attacks against you and your career?
No, not at all. I never imagined any of this, Scott. I mean, when I looked up in the sky and I saw an object that should not have been there, and I thought, what is going on? And it was quickly hidden. And then I observed that the sun was setting on one side of the sky and the sky was red on the other side as well. And I thought, this is just not normal. There's something going on for this to be happening. And that's when I started investigating. I started listening to people like Steve Olson and then Chris Potter. And I thought they had a case because I'd seen some of this, and they were sharing some of these pictures, and I just wanted to understand. And that is still my desire now. I wanted to understand what is going on. I didn't know that it would lead me where it has, where I basically, and I believe that's why I have been attacked as I have. Basically, I have said that NASA is lying. That and the way they attacked me, and it was, you know, Astronomy Live wrote an email to the university, and what they had to say was all about the SDO eclipse season and how I had been giving false information. So that's where it all started, because then the university basically said they were investigating, because he actually threatened the university with disrepute. And so the university started investigating me and started procedures to actually get me fired. And so, but this is what it's all about, because NASA are very powerful, and no astronomer in their right mind will go along with what I have said. And what I've said was that the SDO eclipse season is not an eclipse. And okay, so he started, one of his things that he said was, and I have admitted to it, was a mistake on my part. And I did say that the eclipse should have started 12 hours later in the next eclipse cycle. And after that, I realized I was wrong. And don't forget that as I was trying to understand all this, I was trying to learn a field that wasn't actually mine, which was astronomy. And I knew quite a bit of astrophysics, but some of the basic details of astronomy I had to learn. So I fully admit that I made a mistake with that. I didn't try to provide anybody with false information. I simply didn't know any better at the time. But since then, I've admitted that, and I haven't made any other mistakes as far as I know. I still believe that the only way that you can explain what happens during an eclipse cycle, and basically the most irrefutable point, is that the sun's corona in the 19.3 nanometer, the 21.1 nanometer, where you can clearly see the corona, as the eclipse, so-called eclipse, I'll put it in quotation marks, progresses, the corona shrinks back. And there is no other explanation for that other than the fact that the corona is receding because the sun's not emitting light from there anymore. The sun is going dark. It is irrefutable. I believe it. Stand on it. I called NASA out on it because I am totally convinced that this is the truth. It is not an eclipse. It cannot be. There are other points that I have used. The fact that you see different portions of the sun in different wavelengths. Some astronomers will say that's due to the refractive index. But if you compare the X-ray images with the ultraviolet images, basically there's no refraction for X-ray and there is for ultraviolet. So you should always see more of the sun in ultraviolet than in X-ray, and that does not happen.
Well, you know what I want to ask you real quick before you continue. So I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I know right off the bat these pukes are going to take your words and they are going to twist them. Yes. And what I want to ask you is, you said that you made a mistake. You made a mistake. Oh my God. Oh my God. A professional made a mistake. How big and how bad of a mistake did you make with this calculation of the SDO eclipse? How big of a mistake was it?
Well, it was one of the points that I mentioned, but I had many other points. But of course, they harp on that point because they want to say that I was giving false information.
But what I mean is,
I don't think it was just one point out of many.
Was it a big mistake or was it a minor mistake?
I think it was a minor mistake, and it doesn't actually come into it anymore because Astronomy Live said that they have calculated using the precession of the equinox, and they have calculated when the eclipse has started. Now, I would like to say right now that is not a mistake. That is an outright lie. Because first of all, the eclipse is not caused by an eclipse. It's impossible. And what I've shown is irrefutable proof that that cannot be so. And then what I did was I went back through all the years from 2011 all the way to 2017. And I actually observed when the eclipse starts. And I calculated that there is a period associated with it. And it starts 4 days early every single year. It don't need a calculation. So if you say you calculated that, you are lying. That is not a mistake. That is a purposeful lie and trying to hide the fact that the sun is going dark. But there is a good reason why they need to lie about that, Scott. Because you see, when you realize the sun is going dark, and it's doing so on a regular basis, physics theories we have, just about all of them, crumble under it. Because the physics theories say that the sun is powered by thermonuclear reactions from the interior, and that stars form under the gravitational force. And then you say, okay, but the sun's going dark. That would be impossible if that theory is correct. So that theory crumbles, because our observations reveal the sun is going dark.
So basically, they would have to go back and they would have to write all of the history books. They would have to rewrite their whole theories on physics. Yes. And then when they would do that, a lot of them would have been proven wrong.
Exactly.
So they want to shut you up no matter what.
That's the thing, Scott. That's why they want to shut me up, because it reveals that most of the physics that has been taught at the universities, that is being taught to children in school, is wrong. Because what's happening in the solar system is revealing the truth about what our universe is actually like. And they want to hide that from us at any cost. And this is the reason why they have so attacked me, because I explained this and I prove it's irrefutable. The sun is going dark. And then the fact that it's going dark, and it's going dark on a regular basis, means there's something happening that's causing that. The only thing that can happen is an object going by on a regular schedule, in other words, in some orbit. So, but what kind of object would cause the sun to go dark? A planet would not do it. A planet and a star don't interact in such a way as to cause a star to go dark. That's a crazy idea. So it has to be another star. Only stars can interact with stars to cause this kind of thing. It's logical. But then how does a star come right into the inner solar system and affect our sun? Well, our observations show that is happening, but that crumbles the whole theory about the fact that it's gravity that's powering planetary systems and interactions between planetary bodies. Well, I'm not saying the gravitational force is not there, but what I'm saying is there's much more involved, and saying that it's just the gravitational force is obviously wrong. Again, just about everything we know about the universe crumbles with this. And this is the reason why NASA wants to shut me up. But I will keep on saying, as long as I have breath in me, that NASA is lying to the whole planet.
Let me ask you a question. You're relatively, a pretty modest lady, but how pissed off are you right now?
I am very angry because I believe in the truth. I work to bring people the truth. And I'm not saying I'm perfect and I don't make mistakes, but this is my aim, is to find the truth, to understand it, and to bring it to people. I want people to understand what is going on. I want to understand myself. I want to know whether the physics I learned as a student is the truth. And to tell you the truth, when I started teaching, there were things that I was trying to teach, and I thought, but this doesn't make quite sense. How am I going to teach this to my students? So even then, when I started teaching, I was questioning some of these things I was teaching because they were not quite making sense. And so, okay, maybe I was ahead of the curve in that way because I had already started thinking, but every student is taught by their professor. These are theories. They are not the truth. And yet the whole of physics has what's called accepted theories, and they act like they are the truth. They are not. Everything we know about the universe is a theory. It's not fact. And theories are there to be changed. Our understanding should be progressing, not stagnate, which it has done in the last 20 or 30 years. We have not advanced beyond the belief that it's because of the Big Bang that it all happened. I don't believe in the Big Bang because I have seen enough evidence to show me that it wasn't the Big Bang that caused everything to come into being. And there are now other theories besides the Big Bang. But the newest one that has happened to me, the revelation that the sun is actually going dark on a regular basis, is astounding to me because it throws everything I've ever learned out the window. But again, that's why I'm building my own theories. Now, the astronomers, my colleagues, don't like my methods because my methods are basic. In other words, I see an observation, I make a deduction, I try to put it together with other observations. Because I've realized that the methods we have, based on the theories we have, are not good enough. I mean, we can do advanced mathematics as much as we want. We can do as much computer modeling as we want, and it will look so nice. But if we start from the wrong premise, it's meaningless. If we start from the premise that it is the gravitational force that's powering planetary systems, if we then put a brown dwarf star into the model, of course the planetary system will get destroyed in the model. But that's because we started from the wrong premise, which our observations have now made clear. The planetary systems are not purely powered by the gravitational force. it is actually a very weak force. The electric force and the magnetic force, and now what I believe to be the strong force, play a major part in how planetary systems and stars interact with each other. And this is what these stars coming into the solar system have shown me. And I believe in what I'm saying. I don't think I am saying anything. I'm not trying to force my opinion on anybody. If someone doesn't want to believe, they don't have to listen. But I also have the right to think for myself, and I have the right to say what I believe is the truth.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Let me ask you a question. In the country that you live in, and I mean, this is going to be kind of, personal on the level of being a lady, but,
yes.
In your field, you're a woman, you're a professional, you're a physicist. Do you think that men in the world of physics look down upon women of your stature in the same field? I mean, your personal opinion.
Okay, it's actually very sad, Scott, that I must say, even when I was a student, that someone I knew very well told me that I would never be as good as a physicist as man because I was a woman. And I was a very young student at the time, and I must say that I was in tears then because of that statement that was made to me. But I must say that as a student, I was an extremely good student. In my honors year, which is the fourth year of university, there were about 10 students in the class. It was a small class. There were 2 girls in the beginning. One of the girls dropped out halfway through, and I was the only one that graduated. But I was also the top student in the class.
That a girl.
And thank you. So I don't mention this very often, but I must say that I still have the gold medal that I got for that. So it was, the rest of them were all boys, or should I say young men, and I was the only girl. And at that time, I felt, I remembered what had been said to me when I was a very young student, and I said, well, I wish that person could see me now, because, it sort of took that away, that sort of criticism about the fact that I was a woman and I couldn't make it.
I think they made a beautiful song called "If You Could See Me Now." If you could see me now, do, 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 do.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Well,
you.
you know what? I think that people are seeing you now, and I think that there is definitely a lot of jealousy, probably within the faculty. Yeah, whatever. Just because they're men, there's a lot of things that men can't do that women can do.
Yes.
But I don't agree. I don't agree in that type of those types of actions. In my 22-year career, I worked with people from all over the world. I worked with men. I worked with women. I worked with younger people. I worked with older people. And I just worked very, very well with everybody because I treated everybody as an equal. And yes, there were people that were much more intelligent than me. There were people that had a lot more experience than me. But I never created that condescending feeling with individuals.
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can tell you the way I treat my own students. So I believe that I'm actually bringing girls into physics. Like I said, when I was a student, there were very few girls in the class from the first year. Now there are more and more that go up and end up doing PhDs. And a lot of these girls that are now doing PhDs, they have come through my class. And I believe that I influenced them in a bit because I have never said, look, I'm a woman, and I don't actually believe in that. I believe in believing in myself that I can do anything any other human being can do. And I don't believe in even thinking of people in terms of male and female. I know that we do look different, but I meant in ability. I think my male students and my female students have their own unique abilities, and they have the right to explore their own abilities and do the best they can. And I don't think any of them, either male or female, are better than the other. I actually love my students equally, and I want them to do well. So that's why I don't actually often mention the fact that I'm a woman and that I may deserve different treatment or so on. I don't believe in that. The truth is, I have experienced the fact that men usually like to be leaders and often, you know, make decisions on behalf of women. And I have been treated like that at work as well. And I must say, and maybe the fact that I was a woman played a part in that.
Well, you know, I've often said, because, you know, I mean, my mom was a very powerful woman. She was a very powerful woman in our neighborhood. As growing up as a child, everyone respected her. Everybody was actually afraid of her, but in a good way, because they respected her.
Okay, good.
And I often said that maybe this world would be a better place if women were in charge, just as long as it wasn't Hillary Clinton. You know? And that may just be the fact. But I want to get into, in the beginnings, when you made your observations and you started to write these papers, and you came in touch with Chris Potter and Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger, and, you know, you were trying to, well, maybe possibly help them, if even not correct them on what observations they were making. And this was way many months before I even came into the picture, or you even knew about me or knew about my investigations and research. But
that's right.
Once we just pass by all of that in the past, you come to the situation where all of a sudden you are being, well, let's just use the word critiqued, as the trolls like to use. Ooh, we debunked her. We are professional debunkers. Well, listen, guys, you ain't debunked shit. But anyways, getting back to this situation here, this YouTube channel person that goes by the YouTube channel name Astronomy Live, he decides to take it upon himself because, you know, he has a PhD in some type of customer service. He's some type of a customer service representative or something, but he thinks because he has a PhD in basically, what is it? Some kind of political science or a bachelor's of science. It has nothing to do with actual science.
No, I don't think he's a physicist at all.
No, he's nothing of the kind. And just because he has this claim to fame as an amateur astronomer, it gives him the right to critique a professional's work. Okay, so what? Nerd Boy is really good at math, but who is to say that his math is correct? Because from my standpoint, well, I'm not a mathematician. I sucked at math and I failed algebra. I'll be the first to admit it. When I see your mathematical equations, they give me a headache, and I have to have you explain them. But we're going to lead right into the critical situation, and that was all of a sudden one day you're at the university, you're going through your lectures, and the next thing you know, this puke, Astronomy Live, takes it upon himself to do what? I want you to tell the story.
Well, he started emailing me and telling me, it was, like I said, it was all about the STO eclipse season. And so he emailed me and he said, oh, no, it's because of this and that. And so I replied to one of his emails once. And I asked him who he was. and where he got his PhD. And then he replied, never mind where I work or, you know, where I have my PhD. And he never replied, he never answered that question. But then he started emailing all the people above me, the head of school, the dean of the faculty, the vice chancellor of the university. He wasn't the only one. Other people emailed them all as well with different claims that I was, what, a doomsday prophet, something like that.
You know what? I want to, as we say here in America, I want to back the truck up a few.
Yes.
So this little four-eyed geek took it upon himself to email you,
yes,
and then start to question you. And then he wanted to know about your credentials, but then when you asked him about his credentials, he basically
yes,
told you it's none of your business.
That's right.
Is that usually how professionals come across to each other?
Not at all, because I was very surprised that, because if he was a professional, why didn't he send me, because this is how I treat my colleagues at other universities. I send them an email, not from my personal email, but from my university account, so that they know exactly where I come from and where I work. This is how we treat each other in the community. And these emails from a Gmail account, which to me was very strange. That's why I asked him, who are you? Where do you work? Where did you do your PhD? These were my questions. He still hasn't answered those questions. So, but then when he started emailing the chain of management at the university, and he threatened the university with disrepute, and he claiming that I was providing false information. And so my head of school took it upon himself to call me into his office and accuse me. And he accused me of using the university name, my PhD, and resources at the university to publish papers without. Now, don't forget that we academics don't need authorization to publish our own ideas. This is part of the freedom of academic life, that we choose what we write and where we send our papers.
So let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. I want to, and I hope if you don't mind, but I want to kind of dissect what this puke did, because I know this was a very big surprise for you, getting called into the office like a little schoolgirl and basically reprimanded for something that had absolutely nothing to do with the university. So you're basically researching and writing your papers on your own time, correct?
That's right.
Did you ever steal a pencil from the university?
Of course not. I actually have, you know, we academics sometimes buy computers with research funding. The computer, the laptop that I have been using to write these articles were bought with my own money, not even research money. So the software on it came with this laptop. It's not even under license from the university. They cannot in any way say that I have used resources. I have my own internet. I use my own time. I worked on these articles at home. They have no way to go with that accusation.
Did you ever steal a piece of paper from the college?
Of course not. In fact, I often use my own resources, because my laptop is my own. I use my laptop to lecture at the university. I'm using my own resources to do my job. And sometimes I would use my email to do my job. I would use my own cell phone to make certain calls, even though there's a phone in my office I could have used, but sometimes just more handy to use my own cell phone. And I've used my own printing paper and my own printing at home to print notes to take to the university. So they cannot in any way claim that I am using resources or stealing from them. There is no way they can.
Let me ask you something. You know, and I'm just. Yes. I hope you don't mind. I'm being a little light of the situation, but I mean, currently, right now, in your place of residence, do you have any paper clips that belong to the university?
Well, no, not paper clips.
Don't answer that question. It may be grounds to incriminate you.
The thing is, we are given pens and pads to do our work on, and I must say that I bring them home because I often prepare lectures at home.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, the doctor has just now given a confession. She has university pens in her possession. Oh my God, this is an OMG moment. Doc, they're going to send you to prison. Return the pens immediately. Just mail the damn things back to the university. What I want to get to is you have your own private office at the university, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You have your own telephone there, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
And now these idiots have obtained your personal information, your telephone number, and all of your information there at the university, and they are publicizing it all over the internet like internet trolls do. And
but they may have the wrong phone number because my phone number got changed.
Yeah, because listen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, one of these grease balls that goes by the name of Waptech, he was producing some videos the other day while he was rolling around in a wet dumpster in the back alley of a Starbucks, because he steals Wi-Fi from the Starbucks out in the alleyway, and he makes his cell phone videos for YouTube. And it was raining that day, so he hid inside of a very large dumpster while he was making this video and publicizing the doctor's personal information and academic information. And then he made the biggest snafu by making a statement in his video and to all of the trolls. And if you saw my video earlier this morning, it showed you the comment and how the little cohorts get together in the comment section and they connive and scheme their little plans. But now they are actually claiming that the doctor is impersonating herself. I mean, I almost dropped an F-bomb right there. Really? She's impersonating herself. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to just cut right to it so we can shut this Waptech up, okay? Because he was showing her picture. He was looking at her Facebook page. And listen, Wap scum, if you're listening right now on your free Wi-Fi, I asked the doctor to put together a Facebook page so she could communicate with me by using Facebook Messenger and using it as a telephone, because we all know that you could make person-to-person calls on Messenger, the application on Facebook. So that is the reason why she just opened up that Facebook account, was because I asked her to, and it was a form of free communication between the two of us. She didn't have to email me. She could actually pick up her cell phone, click on the Messenger application, and call me. So, Mr. Waptech, I hope that satisfies you. But Mr. Waptech, we have a very, very big surprise for you today in the form of a picture that I asked the doctor to make. So if you would all just bear with me 1 second while I share my screen, and we're going to show Mr. Waptech who you really are, the impersonating doctor. Wow. Let me get into it. Holy crap. Look at that. Who in the hell is that? Does everybody see that? It says, hello, WAPTech. Looky, looky here. It's me. I'm not impersonating myself, you buffoon. Come on, man. Give me a break, people. You know, this is a shame that a professional woman has to go to these extents to prove something to a low-level, garbage diving, dumpster diving scumbag like WAPTech. And then you got this other scumbag out there down in Dallas, Texas, this Logan Runnin, who is an absolute piece of dirt. D-I-R-T, dirt. All of these people take direct orders from their handler down there in New Zealand and their other handler in the Florida area, the PhD four-eyed geek jelly donut eating boy that runs by the name of Astronomy Live, who is nothing but a liar. And just recently, during one of the SpaceX landings, he falsified and faked a SpaceX landing and was brought out on another YouTube video, Russian Vids, V-I-D-S, exposed him for being a fake because he videotaped the landing, but all he did was recorded the takeoff and then reversed the film footage to make it look like the rocket landed all by itself. And Russian Vids, hey, man, he's the best debunker there is, but he doesn't bother debunking things in outer space. He pretty much debunks everything that has to do with these government psyops, crisis actors, you know, things of that nature. And I mean, he put Astro Boy's picture all over the video. He called him, what was the word that he used? Oh, he called him a NASA fanboy. A NASA fanboy. Because that's what these people do, ladies and gentlemen. And Astro Boy's lifelong dream was to work for NASA. But you know what? We found out he wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough to work for NASA, but they put him in the NASA Junior Shield program. And that's the best that he can do. So WAPTech, clean off your greasy head. You saw the picture. You have the right person. She's not a fake, and she is definitely not impersonating herself, you damn fool. So I want to get back to this email that NASA fanboy sent your employer. Do you have the actual email?
I actually do, yes.
Okay. Do you mind sharing some of the details of what the letter, the email said?
Okay. Okay, it said, dear, and he calls the head of school doctor. That's really not, that's very rude because he's professor.
Well, you know, I mean, you know.
Yeah, anyway, but I'm not going to mention the name because I don't think that's a good idea. So he says, dear doctor, so-and-so, referring to the head of school. He says, I am an amateur astronomy and neuroscientist near Tampa, Florida, USA. This time I run a YouTube channel called Astronomy Live. And it has come to my attention that one of the scientists at your university may be providing substantially false scientific papers to an end-of-the-world cult group known as Wormwood System Observations, or WSO. Shall I go on?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The stage is yours, baby. Take it.
Thank you. So for months, this group has been claiming, among other things, that the regular eclipse seasons, as you can, so I'm just saying, as you can see, it's all about the SDO eclipse. That's what they're really worried about. That occur for the Solar Dynamics Observatory, SDO, or abnormal events not caused by the Earth passing in front of the sun, but rather due to an anomalous draining of the sun's energy. Please see the following link for a brief article from NASA about these eclipse seasons. So he gives the clip where NASA once again lies about the eclipse season. What I have to say regarding that particular clip. Okay, so then here are links to videos from WSO and the associate Chris Potter claiming that these events are abnormal and dangerous. Yes, I agree, they are abnormal. The sun is going dark. So I agree with him here, but you can see what he's saying. This group has maintained that they are being provided scientific evidence and papers from a professional theoretical particle physicist. Yes, I have a PhD in theoretical particle physics. I'm ready to admit that. And now it has surfaced that this physicist appears to be, and then there's my name. You don't mind if I don't say that?
No, no, that's fine. I mean, even though they've plastered it all over the internet.
And then there's my name. Okay, then, but I'd rather not say it. So then the papers published by this group claim that the SDO eclipse season cannot be due to Earth passing in front of the sun from SDO because they are not precisely 6 months apart. And in consecutive eclipse seasons, the eclipse timing during the day is not 12 hours different from the previous eclipse season. Okay, as I said, I did make a mistake with that one. And I have admitted it. Okay, so this is the first one, as you say, that he mentions. And I have written in my papers, you know, in some of the papers that I believe I made a mistake with that. So then he says, of course, the form is due to changes in the orbit of the SDO over time, in part due to torquing of the orbital plane due to Earth's equatorial bulge, causing the ascending node to precess and affecting the timing of when the eclipse season will start. Well, that's a lie. As I have shown, there is no way that the eclipse is caused by an actual eclipse. The sun is going dark, and there is a period associated with it, which is 4 days early every single year. So what he says here is an outright lie. That is simply due to the fact that, so I'm going on with the reading, due to the fact that time is normally measured with respect to the sun, not the distant background source, and that by sidereal time, the eclipse do occur at times that are roughly 12 hours different from the previous consecutive eclipse season. He's right about that, and I admit I was wrong. Okay, so that's, I'm honest about that. I did make a mistake regarding that. I have addressed these facts and he gives these videos, which proves who he is from his channel. My concern is that Dr. and then my name, my surname, is providing false information and stoking these conspiracy groups into fear over normal phenomena such as the SDO eclipse season. Well, excuse me, but the news every day is causing a lot of fear in people. The news about the storms, about the economy, about the build-up towards war, don't they provide lots of fear-mongering information to the whole world? And now I am being accused of stoking conspiracy groups and fear-mongering for wanting to understand the truth.
These people are really, I'm sorry, I can't help but to sit back here and laugh at these idiots. I mean, they think that they are really, really smart. I mean, you know, I guess in a way they have accomplished something in the effect of causing major, major issues with you and your job and your career. But let's just face it. I mean, as the old saying goes, when one door closes, another opens. Doctor, do you mind if I mention to everyone about the offer that was made today about the book?
Oh, please go ahead, Scott.
Yes,
it's lovely.
I have a very, very good friend of mine who is an author and a publisher in the Netherlands, and he has written many, many bestsellers. And he actually, a few years ago, wrote a book pertaining to Nibiru, Planet X, and he just basically did a lot of research on the phenomenon, as he called it. I got an email from him, well, probably about 8 hours ago, and he follows my YouTube channel amongst many others. And he had asked me back in August of 2016 to write the foreword of his new book, which was just being published and translated into English. And he emailed me and he said, listen, this is just absolutely incredible what is going on around the world. But what is even more pathetic is the disinformation campaigns that governments will go to such rotten, filthy extents of smear campaigns to shut people up. And he said, I would like to make an offer for the doctor to tell her complete story, and I will publish the book. And in the case that she loses her job, loses her career, which, you know, Astronomy Live, WAPTech, Logan Runnin, Daz of the Cameraman, Factor Fiction, all of these disgusting YouTube channels have seen to it that this would occur. But like I said, when one door closes, another beautiful door will open. How much time we have left, that will be seen in the future. But later on today, I will be in touch with my friend in the Netherlands, and we're going to talk about this. We are going to talk about this. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to scare the doctor. I don't want to scare anyone else. But over the course of the last 20 years, there have already been 126 astronomers and scientists that have mysteriously been killed or died that were investigating or researching the Nemesis solar system, aka Planet X. So there are some fears for your life when you are delving into this subject matter. Now, at this point in time, I don't really see too much of that type of threat anymore, because I believe the world governments really, really have their hands full right now trying to plan and think about what they're going to do. And what I've mentioned to you before is the truth. They do not want to lose control. Now, I don't know if any of you have noticed over the past few weeks, all of these riots that have been popping up in major cities in the United States and other major cities over in Europe. They're just erupting out of nowhere. They really don't have any cause. They say they're political. They say they're against Donald Trump. But really, I mean, the man isn't doing anything that any other president that has taken over this country has done before. But they're using it as an excuse to militarize your city and local police departments, which they've been doing for quite some time. You could thank Obama for that. But what they're gearing up for is martial law. And when they gear up for martial law, ladies and gentlemen, that means your rights as a U.S. citizen go out the door. The justice system now does not apply to you. But in the same aspect, the day they declare martial law, is the day that I get together with my group and we form our own law. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of things to think about. There are a lot. We're not playing kitty games here anymore. We're not looking at damn Nibiru slideshow photographs. We're getting down to brass tacks right here. And I think that everyone that is following me and many other channels that are bringing the truth, I think that now you are seeing things with your eyeballs wide open. And I'm glad that you are. And one thing, Doctor, I do want to tell you right now that you literally have tens of thousands of people that are supporting you, that leave beautiful comments about you. I mean,
thank you.
I've been reading the emails, and I really have to say that the emails are very touching, very beautiful. They all want to thank you for stepping up to the plate and doing what you're doing. And for all of you ladies out there that, you know, have maybe in your life been suppressed because you're a woman, well, those days are gone, but it still goes on. It still exists in society. But what you're looking at, and the lady that you're listening to now, she is not going to be suppressed. And no one is going to hold her down. Just because she's quiet and modest, well, you know what? A few people out there in YouTube land and little troll land, you have really pissed this woman off. And now she is going to do what she has to do to protect herself, to protect her family, to protect her career, and to protect her well-being. And that goes for each and every one of you little scumbags that attempted to bring her down. You are not untouchable from the law. Yeah, you didn't break any criminal laws, but just like we spoke of before, some of you have really nice careers. And we know that you are going to be held liable for the damages that you created. And there is absolutely no doubt, we've already been in touch with 3 legal teams. They all agree 100% that your email was the catalyst, the match that lit the fire. And you are legally in the United States able to be held liable. Therefore, it'd probably be a good idea for you to, as we say, lawyer up, buckaroo. We know you have the money. You've been saving your pennies, nickels, and dimes in your piggy bank since you were a little boy. You're so damn cheap that you probably still have that piggy bank. Break it open. Go see a lawyer. You're going to need it. So, Doctor, once this email got to the head of the school, he called you into his office, but he wasn't very nice with you, was he?
He wasn't at all very nice with me, and he was very upset that this had happened. He actually took the side that this man from Astronomy Live. It was like they were working together. And then
I wouldn't doubt it.
It was like they were together against me. And I mean, I then went and I got some legal advice from the union. We academics have a union. And the man at the union, when I told him about my articles and how my head of school wanted to basically stop me from writing them, he read to me from the Constitution, because our country has a Constitution. And in the Constitution, it actually talks about universities not having being just as bad as governments in trying to stop people from their right to freedom of expression. So he actually read the words to me from the Constitution, and he says to me, do you know what this looks like? Two men bullying and intimidating a young woman. And that's what he told me about it. And he says once, you know, that's how we should defend the case. But anyway, so I'm not going to go into what's going on after that, but this is what he said, and I think it's significant that the two of them, my head of school and the man from Astronomy Live, that's what they were doing.
I'm sorry. I'm chuckling again. We have, I'm just reading real quick the live chat, and we have a Mr. Brandon Pittman, and he says that he has evidence that you are not the real doctor.
Okay, what is the evidence?
Well, he must be referring to the little German lady over in Germany who shares the same name as you, but she doesn't hold the title of doctor.
Yes, my surname is a German name because I married into a German family. So, yeah, there are lots of German ladies with my name. So it's not surprising.
But not the same picture of you holding up the little note. Of course
not.
The little
Don't
note
forget,
to
I'm definitely a brunette. I'm a Southern European girl, and I'm a brunette with brown eyes.
And you're not chubby.
And I am slim. Yes.
And you don't have gray hair.
Well, I have one or two here and there. I cannot lie.
I suppose after all of this, you'll probably have a few more like me. I mean, even though I have a few popping up here and there, but
yes,
this
might be.
This reminds me of that song by Eminem. What was that song called? Will the real, somebody give me the name of that Eminem song? What the hell is the name of it? Slim Shady. Will the real Slim Shady stand up? Stand up. Will the real Slim Shady stand up? Stand up. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, the real doctor, the real professor, she's right here. She just held up a sign that I had her make for WAPTech. You know, maybe he'll get out of the dumpster and, you know, hopefully it's not raining there in Portland, and he could see the video. And we just made that little sign and that little picture just before we went on the air. And, whoa, mysteriously, the picture looks really like the picture in the faculty directory that he was showing. Ooh, wow. There's a big mystery going on here, Doc. This is a bigger mystery than Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster.
Yes. And it's all about me.
Well, that's good. You know what? It should be about you because, you know what? Since I've met you and I've had so many conversations with you, I have learned so much from you in this amount of time. And, you know, I have all kinds of other feelings that have just popped out of nowhere. And I'm right with you. I'm right with you that I think everyone should have the opportunity to know the truth. They should know what's happening. And we should all be given the chance to at least prepare and to at least understand what is happening with our planet, not NASA's planet, not the government's planet, but our planet, the planet that was given to us by God for us to, you know, cohabitate on.
That's right.
So
yes.
Getting back to your, I don't even know what word to use there, your experience with your, I don't even want to call him your boss because I hate using that word also, but the other professor in charge who called you to his office, he basically took the side of Astronomy Live and really didn't ask you, hey, let me read some of these papers. Did he actually ask you to read some of your research papers?
In fact, I said, look, I'll show you. I'll get my laptop and I'll show you what I have seen. And he refused to look at them.
Oh.
And yeah, he actually refused to look at them. And then he had one of the astronomers talk to me. I know that he did that. So I talked to this astronomer, and he came up with all kinds of excuses about why it could be a timestamp problem and so on. But there was one thing that he refused to talk about. He absolutely refused to go there, and that was to do with the fact that the corona was shrinking. He actually, when we started our meeting, he just said, we won't talk about that. Okay, because it's irrefutable. There is nothing anyone can say to refute the fact that it's impossible for the corona to behave like that if it is an ellipse. An eclipse. So he refused to go there. But he said to me, he tried to get me to do research like he does research. Is modeling to do with brown dwarfs, and basically to get into the same brainwashed environment that he is in. I'm sorry, it's probably a harsh word, but basically that's what I believe, because my colleagues get into this idea, this is how the universe works, this is the fact, we now understand everything, and now we're just going to write some papers and keep on getting our research funds because we're writing papers. And who cares about what's happening in the solar system? Who cares what's happening in our planet? It doesn't matter. But as long as I am getting my research funding, and then everything's fine. So they will not consider observations that bring out the fact that things are not cozy. Things are not have been taught they are. So when I bring up these things, I am thought of, basically I am swimming against the tide, because every physicist, every astronomer wants to keep on believing what they've been taught.
So, I mean, it sounds to me that I remember you discussing with me the conversation that you were going to have with your friend that is a professional astronomer, and you know, he agreed to discuss it with you over a cup of coffee, but he said, oh, no, I'm not putting my name on anything, I'm not writing any papers. So it basically seems like some of these astronomers are like little scaredy cats. These are grown men, but they're scared. They're scared of their own job.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to go back on what the history books have already written, nor do they want to harm their career. Correct?
That's correct.
So if an astronomer comes out and says that he's investigating planet X or the possibilities of brown dwarf stars affecting our sun and in very, very close proximity to our sun, he would pretty much be ostracized right out of the astronomy community.
That's correct. That's exactly what happens. And this is why I have been attacked as I have. NASA cannot have any dissidents. They're supposed to be the top dog. And anyone that questions what they say is in trouble. And that's what I have done.
That's right.
Because I believe what I have to say is the truth.
I think,
and I'm not going to back down no matter what.
Atta girl, repeat what you just said again.
I am not going to back down no matter what.
Atta girl. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you have to give this lady all the credit in the world. I mean, she's being attacked from every end. You know, for me, I'm used to it. It doesn't bother me. They could make their little stupid videos about me. They could do whatever they want to do. It doesn't bother me. But earlier this morning, I received an inbox Facebook message from basically a fake account. But the fake account, little did this person know, led right back to them. right back to Dayton, Ohio, and Buffalo, New York. And lo and behold, it was another one of these YouTube trolls. But you know what they put in the inbox message? Photographs of my 90-year-old grandmother, again threatening my 90-year-old grandmother, basically stating that, you know, she's going to have an accident. She's going to be, you know, found dead at the bottom of the steps in her house. So they decided to take photographs from a real estate site and copy the photographs and send them to me, because we had put my grandmother's house up for sale after the last incident of them disclosing photographs of her house and the GPS coordinates that were tied in as an internet link that anybody could click on, and it would take you directly to my grandmother's house. What does my grandmother have to do with any of this? She has lived 90 years, a tough life. Why would you bring my grandmother into this and then threaten a 90-year-old lady? I mean, that's pretty sick. And I will just put this out there. If by some mysterious chance my grandmother has an accident and she is found deceased at the bottom of the steps in her house, there will be not 1 inch of this world that any of you can hide. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I will find you. So let this be a good piece of advice. Leave my little grandmother out of it. This is between me and you. And the day will come that you'll have the opportunity to face me. And when that day comes, well, it's going to be a really bad day for you, man. It's going to be a really, really bad day for you. You know, yeah. You're going to get taken to school, as we say. So, Doctor...
I think it's... Sorry, Scott, I just wanted to ask, I think it's very sad that these people can actually threaten an old lady. I think it's just terrible.
Well, I mean, you know, they've been doing this now for quite some time. You know, we had an incident a few months ago where after they released this information pertaining to the location of my grandmother's house, it was about 48 hours later, someone threw a large rock. Oh, it was like the size of a grapefruit. And wrapped around the rock was a computer printed out picture of me, and it was all tied up with a bunch of rubber bands. And they threw this big, massive rock right through the rear window of an SUV vehicle that was parked in the driveway. And they did this in the middle of the night. And I guess they assumed that that was my vehicle, but it wasn't. It was my grandmother's overnight nurse that's been with her for, I think, about 5 years. And this lady comes every night at 8 o'clock in the evening, and you know, she sits with my grandmother. She gives a little bit of physical therapy, medications, and then she stays the night. And then she leaves at 8 o'clock in the morning. She works a 12-hour night. And then on the weekends, my grandmother goes and she stays with, you know, either an aunt or an uncle of mine, you know, her children, and, you know, just to get away and visit. And this has been a straight pattern for many, many years. Well, whenever the nurse went to leave that morning, she noticed that the entire rear window of her SUV was completely shattered, broken out. And whenever she looked, she saw this big grapefruit-sized rock in the back of the SUV. And she opened the rear hatch, took the rock, saw that it had a piece of paper around it, opened the paper, and there was a picture of me and it said something about die, you child molester, because back then they were spreading rumors about me being a child molester. And the lady was, excuse me, the lady was very, very upset. She wanted to know what the hell was going on. And at that point in time, she was actually scared for her own safety. And after 5 years of working for my grandmother and being with her, she decided to quit. And that left, you know, that left my family in the situation that, okay, well, you know, we now have to worry about this 90-year-old lady's safety because of these threats being made. So we had to remove her from her house for several weeks. And she was not happy. You know, I mean, my grandmother's still a very smart and feisty Italian lady, and she did not like being removed from her house and wanted to know why. But after a couple of weeks, things quieted down, and she went back to the house, and we did get her another nurse. But then the decision was made that it's best that we remove her from the house, put the house up for sale, and she's now staying with one of her grown children and enjoying herself. And she still doesn't know the real reasons behind what's going on. They haven't told her anything. And my grandmother was like a mother to me. My mother was the oldest, my grandmother's first child. And, you know, unfortunately, my mother passed away at the age of 57. And it was just a very unfortunate situation. And it was very hard for my grandmother to handle that. And, you know, if anything were to happen to me and, you know, my grandmother outlives one of her children and outlives her oldest grandson, it would be just a very sad ending for this portion of her life. So to bring in other people from the outside like that and involve them in all of this is just very sadistic. And I hope everyone can see how sadistic these people really, really are. And again, I've mentioned this before in my broadcast the last couple of days. These people have been criticizing and demeaning people who are Christians and their religious beliefs. I've had to delete a lot of these comments because they are just pretty disgusting. You know, I mean, one guy was talking to a woman in the comment section and told her, how would you like it if I take your effing Bible and beat you over the head with it? God doesn't exist, you bitch. What? Are you serious?
Terrible.
You're going to beat her over the head with a Bible? Man, I'll tell you what, buddy. I wish you were standing in front of me whenever you said that, because listen, man, that's just insane. And that's happening all over the world. Christians are being prosecuted and persecuted and murdered and killed all over the world. People have been killed all over the world based on their religious beliefs. Since what? Since Jesus. I mean, he was hung on the cross and killed for his beliefs and his teachings. What? Because he was a threat? Or because the man just wanted peace? So we're not going to stand for any of this. We're going to continue to seek the truth, investigate, and research, and we're not going to stand for it. And now these trolls have pissed off tens of thousands of people that are now going to confront them. And that's what they need. They need to be confronted by a mass of people that are not going to stand for this type of trash. And what do you do with the trash? You take it out to the garbage. And that's exactly what they are. So once you had your meeting with the head of the university, things got kind of bad for you in a sense, though, right? Do you sense that they started to treat you differently?
Definitely. Although I had sometimes had feeling that my head of school didn't quite appreciate my work, let's say it, because he made certain unilateral decisions that affected my work without even asking me what I thought about it. But after this meeting, it wasn't, I even saw the secretaries looking at me strangely. And I felt very bad at work. I've been feeling uncomfortable and victimized, and it caused me incredible amount of stress. And I must say that it still is. But I don't want to go into many details. I just
no, you don't.
Yes, it has been. It has not been easy.
I know this is going to sound. I know this is going to sound like a crazy question, but do you think that you deserve this type of treatment?
Oh, of course not. I mean, all I really want is to understand what's going on in the solar system. I want to understand physics. I'm a physicist. I don't want just to accept the physics theory I got taught as if they are fact. I want to know the truth about them. I want to explore new ideas if necessary. That's what I've been doing. I'm doing nothing wrong. My training has trained me to look at observations and make deductions. I am doing what I have been trained to do. The other physicists are not doing what they've been trained to do. They just keep publishing the same old stuff, and they don't even consider where they're starting from the right premise, which most of them are not.
Well, I would definitely have to agree with you. I mean, that's like taking the scalpel out of the surgeon's hand and telling him to perform the operation, or taking the paintbrush out of the artist's hand and telling him to paint me a picture. So, you have all of the tools locked up in your beautiful mind. And I think what you're doing is very admirable. It is very honorable. And I mean, I'll just say this outright. I'm really, really happy, even under the circumstances, that you've now become a very dear friend of mine. And I hope that in all of the years that come, I hope that we have a lot of time left. I hope we all get through all of this and we could all, kind of live a good, quiet life. But I'm very glad that you've come into my life and I've had a chance to meet you. Well, not physically meet you in your presence, but it's already been an experience, and I'm very sad too that this has happened with your job and your career. But I hope that it has opened up your eyes, and I know that it has, and that now there should be no doubt in anyone's mind that the suppression of evidence and information is in full swing. And out of everybody on YouTube, they want me to go away. They want me gone.
Yes.
But I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not hurting anybody. Yes, I do confront people that do interfere with my YouTube channel, and they do interfere with my life. But what do you expect? Do you expect me to sit there with my tail between my legs and let you verbally abuse me and go after my grandmother? I mean, wow, you're a real tough guy. Gonna push an old lady down the steps. Yeah, I doubt that. But what they're trying to do to you And they've been a little successful, but I don't want to give these punks too much credit. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of internal things right now that the doctor, she cannot talk about on this broadcast. I hope everybody understands, because she did have a meeting earlier this morning, and she was advised on what she can and cannot discuss on this live stream. So I hope everybody understands there's some maneuvering going on right now, and some legal matters that have to be taken care of first. And once this is all done, you know, maybe we'll discuss it again, but I don't want this to become an everyday thing, because it's already taken up a lot of our time. But this information had to get out there, because I think it's pertinent information showing this suppression of evidence. They want people to shut the hell up and go away. You know, I have been told so many times to just shut my YouTube channel down and go away, and all of this will go away. Well, you know, listen, man, I don't react to that kind of shit. When you tell me something like that, I just turn up the heat. I just turn up the steam, baby. That's it. I'm not the pushover that some of the other YouTube channels are. You may be able to go there and abuse them, but you notice that I fight back. And I'm not the Mr. Nice Guy. I'm the bad boy of YouTube. I'll admit it. But I have a good heart. I'm a nice person. Yes, I'm a nice guy. You know, I don't care what people think of me. I don't care what people say about me. But you can guarantee one thing, that when the chips are down, I'll be the first person to run to you and help you, while everybody else runs away from you. And we all may be on different ends of this earth, but if I could get to you and help you, I would. The trolls, I'd have to kick you in the butt and send you over the hill, because I would never help you. You're all dirt. You're all garbage and scum. And what you've done to the doctor and her career, this is unforgivable. Maybe God will forgive you. You know, I won't. I will not. Maybe the doctor will forgive you someday, but I won't. And maybe I'll be there to remind her what you did. Maybe if she has the opportunity, she puts her little fist right in your eye socket. You know, you deserve it. And then you cry when we go after you and we expose you. They cry like these little bitches, you know. It's disgusting to listen to them. And it's also disgusting to watch them drag other innocent people into the hole that they are in. Just absolutely horrible. So now that we understand that Astronomy Live was the individual who, he was the catalyst that started all of this, and then this other greaseball that goes by the name of WAP Tech, he's already admitted in his videos, and we have recordings of Astronomy Live admitting that he emailed the university and he did this and he did that. We have all of that on recording from videos that he was involved in, and basically laughing about it, bragging about it. Well, that's all going to be used as evidence. So he's not going to be able to deny it. The email is there. And like I said, he's already admitted it in these videos. WAP Tech has already admitted that he has emailed the university. He has called the university. He has emailed the doctor. He has exposed all of her personal information. We have copies of all of the videos. We have copies of all of the comments in the video sections. And on Dazza the cameraman's Facebook page, Vortex. I mean, that is the troll haven. But yet, Dazza the cameraman doesn't realize that for the last 6 months, I've had someone on his inside telling me everything that's been going on because they hate what he stands for. They hate what Astronomy Live stands for. And yes, troll community, you have a troll in the inside with you. And that person belongs to me. Touché, as they say. Ha! Doctor, are you laughing?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Good. I'm glad to hear you laughing. And you deserve to laugh, and you deserve to have a smile on your face. These people actually think that they're pretty smart, but in all actuality, I mean, they're pretty stupid, you know. So where do we go from here? You know, I mean, I saw that they were discussing your future plans for your conference that was coming up in July that you were invited to, and you were invited to talk about some of the papers that you've written.
Yes.
And I mean, they already have all of the information to this conference. They have the dates, they have the times, they have all of this information, and we've already started working on security for the doctor. If she plans on attending this conference, she will be well taken care of. She will be under top security. So if any of these grease balls attempt to even approach you, they will probably be broken in two by the security force that will be with you, because you are a very important lady, and we will protect you to the very, very end. There is absolutely no doubt. And I want to say something else too. You know, for all of the ladies out there that, once again, that have been suppressed in one way or another, I want you to just pay very close attention to this little lady who has basically beaten all of the odds. And yeah, she's been, you know, suppressed for different periods in her life. And as modest as she is, she has risen above it. She has steadfast, stayed on point, and she's given so much to others, her students, her family, but nothing for herself. Nothing. And when she's writing these papers and this endeavor that she's taken on, she actually now feels good about what she's doing, because now she is helping even more people. So when you become a teacher and a professor, you're helping people. You're helping younger people educate themselves to be somebody. So she's basically chosen and taken her life and given it to others. And that's very respectable. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm right here with you, doctor. I am right here with you all the way, because now these trolls are spreading the rumor that it is my fault that Astronomy Live sent the email, which, you know, is putting this whole career of yours in jeopardy, which it is in deep jeopardy because of his tactics and his actions.
Yes.
And yeah, they started this yesterday. They were even making videos pointing out that Scott is to blame for
that's ridiculous.
For your demise, is what it said. And I mean, this started to occur before I even met you.
I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. That's true, Scott. That I hadn't even started working with you. I only got to know you through Chris. because he became good friends with you. And it's totally ridiculous. And I cannot blame anybody that I was working with. I decided on my own to help these people who were putting out this information, and that was Steve Olson, Urbain Steiger, and Chris. And it was my decision because I liked the work that they were doing. And I don't blame any of them for what this has happened. There's only one channel here that is to blame, and that is the channel that sent the letters to the university, I mean the email. And I've named them, it's Astronomy Live, and that's the only one there is to blame, because and I've read the email that they sent to my head of school, and that's the email that got me into trouble. So there's only one.
Are you still with me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we lost communication there for again.
Oh, did you hear what I said?
No, I'm sorry. It cut out for a second on my end.
Okay, so let me repeat. I'll just repeat it. So it's ridiculous that they think that you are to blame, because first of all, I only got to know you more recently. Of course, we've become dear friends. You know that. And
yes.
I really, I believe you are a great friend. You helped me so much, Scott. But I didn't know you when this email got sent to the university. I only got to know you more recently. And I was working with Urbain Steiger and Steve Olson and Chris Potter then. And I don't blame them for any of this, because I decided to help them of my own free will, because I like the work that they were doing. And now we formed a close group, you and Chris and I, and we're working the three of us together, and I like that. But there's only one person to blame for this, and that is the person who sent the email to the head of school with the specific aim to get me fired. And that is the man from Astronomy Live. He is the only person to blame for what has happened since then.
Yes, and he was on other live stream hangouts on, I think it was Logan Runnan's show, Fact or Fiction over there in the UK. He basically made his rounds like he was a little celebrity and bragging about, how, what he did. And he thought it was kind of funny. He thought it was funny. He laughed about it. And at one point in time, we even have a video that he was on a live hangout on that cruddy show produced by a little troll group, WTF Sky. And he was degrading Chris Potter and degrading you. And at one point in the video, I watched him say that he reviewed some of your work, and it seems that you got your education on the back of a matchbook cover, which is kind of a slang way of saying that your education is crap.
Yes.
But in all actuality, you have 3 times the credentials than he does.
Yes. Well,
he's not a professor
for my degrees. That's for sure.
Yes. And I remember you telling me, how you took care of yourself, your family, worked, and continued to study and increase your knowledge, with your doctorate, your master's. And that is very, very respectable. And for him to try to put you down in that aspect, well, that just shows you his character. He's probably jealous because he basically works in customer service, and you are a professor, and you have been teaching for 17 years, and your credentials overshadow his little puny troll body.
Yes, that's an interesting way of putting it, Scott.
Yes, well, I have an interesting way of putting things. I'm very, very talented in that aspect. But I know a lot of the people have, they're very curious about, where do you go from here? And I don't know if you want to talk about where do you go from here? Where does life take you from this point on?
Well, I'm still a little uncertain. I'm thinking of doing a bit of traveling. I have family overseas in Europe, and I'd like to visit them. Yeah, what you were referring to when I was doing my master's degree, I was working, and I had a disabled child. She died she died in 2011. But it was difficult. Life was difficult, and I guess now I like the idea of writing the book. Because basically I'm a writer. I enjoy writing. That's why I write these articles. I'm a physicist and I'm a writer. So I'm putting the two together, and a teacher. I'm putting everything together to do what I'm doing. So I'd like to continue to do that, of course, because I enjoy it. It's become my mission in life to bring the truth to the people who would like to hear it. I don't know. I still have to think about it, Scott.
I know. It was just a question out there that someone had emailed me. They were basically concerned. I mean, I have a lot of beautiful subscribers. These people have hearts of gold, and you know, they are a wealth of information also. And
yes,
almost all of them have stuck by me from the very beginning. It's a shame that a lot of my European subscribers have been suppressed by their own governments, and it's somewhat hard for them to see things on YouTube. I get the emails all the time about the suppression of information overseas and in other countries, and that's why we are going to utilize the radio station, the X Factor Radio. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not subscribed to the X Factor Radio station, the link is in the description box. Simply click on the link, go to X Factor Radio, and click on the little pink follow button and set up your notifications. And there will be a lot of information revealed on X Factor Radio, because there's a lot of information that I cannot put out on YouTube because of the constraints that we have now, and just the whole entire mess that Google and YouTube have gotten themselves into. And another big factor on X Factor Radio, you don't have to worry about these slimy little trolls, because you can take your cell phone and listen to the broadcasts at any time you want. You can guide it right through your Bluetooth onto your car radio. You can listen to it on your cell phone. You can cast it to your television. You could listen to it on your computer. If you have to stop it and go do something else, you can come back and pick up right where you left off in peace. In peace. And I think this is going to be a big plus for us. And I just got some statistics this morning from the radio broadcasts that have already been done, and the episodes are still up there. And we've had a 65% increase in listeners around the world. Wow. In countries that have never seen this YouTube channel, and now they're solid listeners, and now they have access to the information, and that's what it's all about. We're not trying to hurt anyone. We're not trying to fear monger. Fear mongering is when you're telling people, oh my God, the asteroid, it's going to hit the Earth today. I mean, I see YouTube videos with the heading, beware, Nibiru will hit the Earth in 20 days. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. I don't even know when was the last planetary collision. I mean,
And I don't think they actually happen. I mean,
Yeah.
asteroids can hit planets, but
planets actually repel each other. Am I correct?
that's right. The planets seem to repel each other, and the stars seem to attract each other, and it's very strange. But yeah, well, that's what I found out. I mean, from my observations, this seems to be what's happening in our solar system. And if it happens here, it's likely to happen outside our solar system as well.
You know, Doctor, I was, this just goes to show you how much people care about you. I actually received some emails today, and they were job offers for you. You know,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, there was a few people I recognized in their tone of their message. Told the doctor that she's more than welcome to join the faculty at this college and this university here in the United States, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah, so I mean, your options are wide open, and like I've said, you know, when one door closes, another door opens, and maybe in the very near future, you'll be even more appreciated for everything that you've done and that you are doing. Because I know this much just by reading my emails now and viewing the comments in the comment sections when we are on live and doing your papers. The comments are very touching, and the emails that I'm getting, they're very touching. And I mean, I should start forwarding them to you, but they are coming in by the hundreds. You know,
Wow.
and I know that you've been very, very busy, but they would be very touching for you to read, because at least, at least you know that every night when you lay your head down and close your eyes to go to sleep, that you are doing the right thing. And I know I'm doing the right thing. I don't care how bad people criticize me. I don't care what they say about me. I don't care what they bring up from my past. Everybody has a past. Big deal. If you shake my closet a little bit, a whole bunch of skeletons come out. I don't care. My God, there's a whole cemetery in there, people. But I'm here, and I'm trying to do the right thing, because I know after all of these years of poking around and nosing around and trying to figure out all of this information, going all the way back to the early 1980s, then I saw, with the help of a professor of mine, that they started suppressing information back in the, I think, early 90s. And then now here we are in 2017 on the cusp of all of this just falling in our laps, and they want to hide it even more. It's not going to happen. Definitely not going to happen. And I don't care if I go to my grave doing what I'm doing. Like I said, if something happens to me, I've already talked with my inner self. I will not go to the pearly gates of heaven. My soul will stay right here on planet Earth. And I want you to all listen very, very closely. I will haunt each and every one of you trolls every single night. I will be standing at the foot of your bed in my spirit, and I will make sure that you piss your pants when you wake up and you see my spirit standing at the edge of your bed. Because I'm not going anywhere. Neither is my energy. Neither is my power. I'll live forever. maybe not my human body, but my spirit and my energy, it's going to move on and it's going to live on. That much is a fact. And I pray every day. I pray to myself. I'm not down on my hands and knees with a Bible in my hand, but I do have some time to myself each and every day. And I sink deep into thought, and I try to will all of this away like it's a dream. But then I snap back to reality like all of us do every single day. And I see that it is reality.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is depressing. And my life has basically been turned upside down for a good while now. And I don't have the happy, joyous life that I had before, kind of carefree and go lucky. So, you know, I've shown my dedication to what I'm doing. You've shown your dedication to what you're doing. And yes, there is always a price to pay. Unfortunately, you know, these prices that we have to pay, some of them are very awful.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But anyways, on a brighter note, I think in the very near future, I think things are going to turn out really good for you. And you know, me and Chris, hey, we're like family now. You know, as we say in Italian, hey, you're family now, you know?
Yes.
And that's the way that I look at things. And I think that you've developed a massive family over the course of the last few months. People listening to you, they love your voice and they love your accent. They keep trying to say, where is her accent from? Where is she from? I keep telling, you know, some of the guys that email me, and they come up with these marriage proposals. Tell the doctor I want to marry her, you know. And I'm like, look, she's not your type. But I think in the very near future, I think that all of us, we're all going to have some eye-opening experiences. We are going to see a lot of tragic things that are occurring. And ladies and gentlemen, if they occur in your country, in your town, in your city, in your neighborhood, don't run scared. Don't be like these stinking, slimy trolls, because I know you won't. And we're all going to get out there and we're all going to help each other, no matter what. That's what this is really all about. And I think God has this actual plan. Yes, let me wash away the scum off of this earth once again, and let me allow my people to join together as one again. Maybe they'll get it right this time. But it's not our fault. It's the evil in this world that has tried to bring us down as human beings once again. And we will all have to rise above it, whether it be Planet X, a brown dwarf star, an asteroid, or God himself coming down and slapping everyone around and saying, listen, you've all done some very bad things. Wake up. I gave you this planet. I gave you life. Enjoy it. Yeah. Do the right thing. Maybe we'll get to that time. Maybe not in my lifetime. Maybe. But anyways, is there anything that you anything else that you wanted to mention about this situation? I know a lot of it, you know, you really can't talk about, but I think we've thrown Astronomy Live under the bus and backed up over him a couple of times. And I know that he's been I know that he's been given orders to do what he did, because he's too much of a little, I can't use the C word, but I know he was ordered to do what he did. He didn't do it on his own, because he doesn't have, as they say in Spanish, con cojones. You know, he doesn't have the balls. He doesn't have the balls to do something without somebody pushing him. So I actually feel I'll give the little twit that much credit. I think someone ordered him to do what he did because he has the little so-called PhD credentials in customer service, and I think he was the one that was ordered to do what he did. And I just found out yesterday and this morning with the investigation that's going on with Mr. Waptek, the garbage man in whatever city he lives in out there on the West Coast. We found out that he was given direct orders once again by the other twit in New Zealand to get on top of you and discredit you. And he's tried, but it's not working. And he has actually come up with some really stupid things, especially the one about you impersonating yourself. That has just, I couldn't stop laughing earlier whenever I heard that. I just was, I mean, that was just the tip of the iceberg there. You know, you're impersonating yourself. That's just pretty bad.
It's very funny.
You want to say, do you want to say hello to Waptek and tell him to stay out of your damn business? Why don't you just tell Waptek and Logan Running and Dazza the cameraman and Astronomy Live to stay the hell out of your business? Or do you just want me to say it for you?
But yeah, I think maybe it will sound better from your mouths. I'm not very good at that sort of thing.
Well,
I just,
go ahead.
I can say that I wish that they would leave me alone. I don't think I'm doing them any harm. All I'm trying to do is understand the universe, like all physicists should be wanting to understand. I don't wish them any harm at all. You know, I know that they're probably just getting what they're getting paid for, but I think they've chosen a very bad career. It's not very nice what they do to other people.
Well, it will.
And I think I'll leave it at that.
It will all come back to them. Believe me, like I said, you know, when the chips are down and the sky is falling and the world is being flooded and all hell's breaking loose, the good people will be out there trying to help one another, and that will include me. But if I happen to see a little troll floating down a river that has overflowed its banks and he's looking to be saved and he wants me to throw him a life preserver, I'm going to throw him a brick. Or if I say, you know, here, I'll throw you a rope, tie it around your neck, I'll pull you in. Oh, Lord. Hey, we're going to need fishing bait. Well, wait a minute. Fish don't like garbage. Oh, anyways. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I mean, we've obviously wasted a lot of time, you know, with the whole trolling situation. And each and every day, they will continue with their little garbage campaigns. But with the help of each and every one of you, we can try to corral these individuals. And just as long as you know that these people are your enemy, they are not there to help you. They are there to purposely change your mind and cast doubt in your mind about what is occurring on this planet. And you know as well as I do that whenever you start to have doubts, and then you're unsure about things, and then all of a sudden something occurs, those doubts can lead to very tragic situations. So we want all of you to keep the information flowing into your ears. Keep your eyes and your ears open for anything that is going on in your cities, in your states, in your countries, in your villages. I don't care where you live. If you see something that is occurring, let me know. Drop me an email, get in touch, or leave a comment, something. Because in the end, we're all in this together, except for the trolls. But we are all in this together. That's the bottom line. And I'm going to push forward. The doctor has agreed that she's going to push forward. It's very unfortunate that what has occurred, but like I said, one door closes, another door opens. This is a beautiful woman with a beautiful mind. And, you know, I mean, she has nerves of steel right now because she has cast herself into, no, I don't want to use the word limelight, but she has cast herself into the attention of, you know, divulging this information, researching this information. And this may be the biggest possibility that we were placed here by our Creator, by God Himself, to fulfill what we're doing. This is our life plan. 10 years ago, I mean, I definitely thought I was going to be doing something else in 2017 and 2016. Doctor, I'm sure you could probably say the same thing, right? You thought you were going to be doing
definitely.
something totally different.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah. I never envisioned that I would be doing what I am doing now. That's for sure, Scott. But I'm glad I've met you.
Yes, and once again, yeah, I definitely agree. I'm very glad that I've had the opportunity to experience all of this with you, and you've been such a big help to me, because there were some times when I was very lost in my thoughts and trying to figure out what was going on, what was happening. I'm pretty self-educated as far as utilizing all of the tools and, you know, translating these things. I'm a pretty intelligent person, but listening to you and reading your papers and having a chance to interject with you and talk with you and work with you has definitely sparked a firestorm in my brain.
Wonderful.
And, you know, together, I mean, honestly, together, me and you have, I mean, we've actually discovered some things and made some observations together that are like, wow, did you just see that? Okay, now we have to look at that. And, you know, we're looking at things and we're saying, okay, you know, that's not possible. And I'm learning a lot from you. I'm probably teaching you bad things like, you know, swearing and things, even though the doctor has not sworn yet. She has not cursed one word.
No, I cannot swear. My mom raised me never to swear. Sorry, Scott, that you won't be able to teach.
I did it one
time.
But
I have learned.
I did it one time in front of my mother, and I swear to God, I saw outer space. I saw the stars. Believe me. But it's been, you know, it's been a hell of an experience already. It's a shame that things have come to what they have come to, but we will overcome all of this, and we will continue. We will continue as long as we possibly can. I do know, ladies and gentlemen, that over the course of the next several days, there have been some reports of some, well, rather violent activity that is going to be heading our way. We do have a very large, very, very massive partial coronal hole that is formed on the sun from the northern hemisphere all the way to the southern hemisphere. And they are predicting, once again, that solar wind speed will be increasing. And as you know and have learned from myself and the doctor, this takes a few days to get to us, and it lasts for several days. And over the course of the last couple of days, we've seen all of these earthquakes in Alaska and British Columbia. Yes. The last count that I got was, I think, almost in a 48-hour period, over 400 quakes. Wow. In a small area. They're blaming it on this glacier movement. Some of these earthquakes had no depth, But we really don't have anybody out there in authority making an observation and giving a statement. So we don't know what's happening right now. Now, a week or two ago, we had this massive cluster of earthquakes right off the coast of Chile. 60 earthquakes in 48 hours. And I'm not talking little micro quakes. I'm talking magnitude 4, 5, and 6. And now this is occurring in southern Alaska, British Columbia, right on the line. Volcanic activity is once again on the rise. And we have to be very careful about what's happening, because at any given moment, anything can occur. They are having earthquakes in just really weird places, places that they don't normally have earthquakes. Okay, so whenever I put out an earthquake report, even if you don't live in an earthquake area, I want you to listen to the report, because the report is going to have vital information so you can see what's happening. The volcanic report will be along with the earthquake report. We're also going to continue with the space weather reports. And, you know, by chance, if I get some good, credible photographs or video, I will put it up there and I will show you. I'm not going to be, you know, keeping it to myself. I'll put it out there. I want everybody to keep an eye on the sun, keep an eye on everything. Like I've said before, keep an eye in the sky. Power and knowledge go together. So the knowledge will create the power. And the doctor she is working on a couple other reports. They're very, very interesting, very, very eye-opening. And we're going to be bringing you those reports maybe tomorrow or the next day. But again, any information that you see coming out on my YouTube channels, the Nibiru channel, Planet X News, the videos are shared on both channels. Make sure you just pay attention to the videos. You may not think that the information is something I need to hear, but you never know. You just never know. Listen, Doctor, I really appreciate you taking the time, coming on here and talking about some of your personal issues that were created by Mr. Astronomy Live and the other troll factions. I really appreciate that. And I want you to stay. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I want you to stay online with me here. And
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, once again, hey, listen, I love all you guys, brothers and sisters from around the world. Let's just stay in touch and stay in tuned. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching.